aspects of the mitochondria is the way in which they are inherited. In humans, all or nearly all of our mitochondria come from the cytoplasm of the ovum or egg cell. This means that when your relatives are discussing which side of the family should take credit for your best characteristics, you can tell them that you got your mitochondria from mom. Well, anyway, mitochondria, what do? They're like the generators of the cell. They take fuel, food, and turn it into a more useful form of energy, in this case ATP. Learn about that later, but they're like generators. And what are chloroplasts? Please move along with me to page 180. Chloroplasts. Okay. Chloroplasts. Plants and some other organisms contain chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are organelles that capture the energy from the sunlight and convert it into chemical energy in a process called photosynthesis. Chloroplasts are the biological equivalent to solar power plants. Like mitochondria, the chloroplasts are surrounded by two membranes. Inside the organelle are large stacks of other membranes, which contain the green pigment chlorophyll. Chloroplasts, like solar panels, they turn sunlight into energy. Way cool. Isn't this awesome? All in one cell. So tiny, so small, so intricate. God rocks. So cool. Organelle DNA. Unlike other organelles that contain no DNA, chloroplasts and mitochondria contain their own genetic information in the form of small DNA molecules. Oh, that's good to know. Lynn Margulis, an American biologist, has suggested that mitochondria and chloroplasts, look at this, they use the word suggested because they don't know for sure. Be careful when you hear people say suggested. Theories are only theories. Sorry, this is not a theory, it's just a hypothesis. It hasn't been tested by repeat observation. Are actually the descendants of ancient prokaryotes. Margulis suggests that the prokaryotic ancestors of these organelles evolved as a symbiotic relationship, remember that word from last chapter, with early eukaryotes, taking up residence within the eukaryotic cell. One group of prokaryotes had the ability to use oxygen to generate ATP. These prokaryotes evolved into mitochondria. Other prokaryotes that carried out photosynthesis evolved into chloroplasts. This idea is called the endosymbiotic theory. Now, theory is kind of a sketchy word here. Theory is a statement that describes multiple observations from scientific experiments. But there are no experiments that say, look, a little organism called a little microorganism moved inside a bigger organism and helped him make power for itself. What is this suggesting? It's suggesting that complex eukaryotic cells evolved from simple ones. Yeah, don't buy it. At least recognize it as an idea, but don't take it as a theory or a fact. I think it's best to call it a hypothesis. Anyway, let's keep moving. Move on to page 181 for me. Okay? The cytoskeleton. Okay. Cytoskeleton, this one is maybe my favorite. A supporting structure, what does it do? Good quiz question. A supporting structure and transportation system complete our picture of the cell as a factory. As you know, a factory building is supported by steel or cement beams and by columns that support its walls and roof. Eukaryotic cells have a structure, the cytoskeleton, that helps support the cell. Key point, the cytoskeleton is a network of protein filaments that helps the cell maintain its shape. The cytoskeleton is also involved in movement. Microfilaments and microtubules are two of the principal protein filaments that make up the cytoskeleton. Alright, so you check this little graphic out. Here's a microtubule, and here's a microfilament. Microtubules, as you can see, are much bigger than microfilaments. They are all part of the cytoskeleton. Okay. Microfilaments are thread-like structures made of a protein called actin. Oh man, I like this. This is a great quiz question. Students, what are microfilaments made of? Actin, Mr. Worley, actin. Good job, good students. They form extensive networks in some cells and produce a tough, flexible framework that supports the cell. Microfilaments can also help cells move. Microfilaments assembly and disassembly is responsible for the cytoplasmic movements that allow cells, such as amoebas, to crawl along the surface. Do you catch that? This is like the skeleton, but it also helps move the cell. Can you imagine a factory or a house that moves by itself? Wow. Okay. Microtubules, smaller, are hollow structures, bigger, are hollow structures made up of proteins known as tubulins. Ooh, wow, what a great quiz question. What are microtubules made of? Tubulins, Mr. Worley, tubulins. Good. In many cells, they play critical roles in maintaining cell shape. Microtubules are also important in cell division, where they form structures known as the mitotic spindle, which helps separate chromosomes in animal cells. Tubulin is also used to form a pair of structures known as centrioles. Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Worley. Wow, that sounds pretty familiar. Didn't we just learn about a centriole before? Let's go back to, everybody, just flip back with me to page 175, and you'll see that in an animal cell, there's the centriole. Is there a centriole in plant cells? I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. Centrioles are located near the nucleus and help organize cell division. Centrioles are not found in plant cells. All right. Microtubules also help build projections from the cell surface, which are known as cilia, singular cilium, and flagella, singular flagellum, that enable cells to swim rapidly through liquids. Cilia and flagella can produce considerable force, and in some cells they move almost like the oars of a boat, pulling or pushing cells through the water. You will learn more about cilia and flagella later in the chapters. Whew! That was a long chapter, class. Okay, let's break down the key points. 1. But first, remember your assignment is to do the reading and the section assessment 1 through 5, or I want you to do the persuasive, no, never mind, 1 through 5. Okay. Let's review our objectives. Hold on. Our objectives were to describe the function of the cell nucleus. Remember, it's kind of like the main office. It has the DNA. It controls the actions of the cell. Describe the functions of the major cell organelles. Those are the ribosomes, the endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth ER, the rough ER, the Golgi apparatus, the cytoskeleton, the vacuoles, the lysosomes. Wow, there's so many to learn. Make flashcards. Have you written notes down? If you haven't, you've kind of wasted your time. Well, but I love my voice. Maybe you love it too. Anyway, you might have to listen to me again if you haven't written any notes down. Anyway, okay, so that concludes section 7-2. I will see you tomorrow, class. We're going to be having a quizaroo on this section. We're not having a lot of review time, so you need to study and get ready for it tonight. Vocab words and objectives. This is Mr. Worley saying God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.